Have you ever looked around your house, maybe in your closet, or pulled out drawers in your bedroom or your kitchen and thought to yourself, why can't I bring myself to get rid of this stuff? Now, we've hit on a number of things over previous videos that might be the cause of this, but today I want to focus on one thing, and that is the mindset that we bring to our things. Because there are two basic mindsets at play here. One is the scarcity mindset, and the other is the abundance mindset. So let's talk about that. The scarcity mindset is rooted in this feeling of, and I want you to watch my hands here. What if I need this later? Or I paid so much money for this, I don't feel like I can let it go. When we think in terms of scarcity, we automatically clench things toward us. We mentally, emotionally grab onto them and hold them. The abundance mindset, on the other hand, says, you know what, I have enough. This over here, this is enough. These things over here are, for lack of a better word, superfluous. They are extra. And I don't necessarily need extra. I might want it, and I may decide to keep it, but I understand that it's extra. And if I let it go, my life is not going to be jeopardized by that. Think about it like this. Think about how you pack for vacation. Now, I've done some packing videos on this channel, and I have purposefully tried to get down to the very smallest bag I can pack with the least number of things I can take. I'm not talking about that. But there are basically two kinds of packers. There are the packers who say, I'm going to be gone. Well, let's take how I normally pack, for example. I'm going to be gone for 7 days. I need one pair of jeans. At the most, I might need 2 pairs of jeans, just in case. Just in case is not always a bad word. If I'm going to be gone 7 days, I need 4 pairs of underwear because I can wash them at the hotel room. I need 3 t-shirts. I need probably 3 shirts like this, button-down shirts. I might need a jacket. Make it a rain jacket. I need 1 pair of shoes. The shoes I'm going to wear on the plane are going to be the most comfortable pair of shoes I own, and they're going to be great for everywhere I walk. And so I just keep bringing things down. Where if you're one of those people who say, we might go out to a nice restaurant. Notice I said we might go out to a nice restaurant. So I'm going to take a pair of dress slacks and a little dressier shirt, maybe a sport coat, no tie, but just something. And that means I got to bring a different pair of socks, and I got to bring another pair of shoes, because we might do this. Or, I can't wear the same thing every day. So if I'm going to be gone 7 days, I need at least 7 different shirts. And I'm not one of those people who's going to, do laundry at the hotel. So I'm going to bring an extra pair, 8 pairs of underwear, and 8 t-shirts, 8 different shirts, at least 3 pairs of pants. I can mix and match. And the list just goes on and on and on. One is, what if I don't have what I need? And the other is, I know I can get by. I have an abundance mindset. And if I forget something, or I don't pack something I find out that I need, they probably sell it where I'm going. So these two different mindsets impact us way more than just decluttering or minimizing or whatever you want to call it around your home. So let's look at specifically kind of how these two mindsets impact us on a daily basis. When it comes to decluttering, every step in the process is an intentional decision on your part. It's an intentional decision. I may not get rid of as many things as you do. There are people out there who are surviving on the mentality of, I only own 33 things. That is not me. So I may not declutter as much as you, or I may not paint my house the same way that other minimalists might paint. But what I am doing is an intentional decision for me. It's how I want to live. And if you are someone who wants to live with much more than I do, at least it's an intentional decision on your part. So understanding that, we're going to break down some things here about scarcity and abundance mindsets. One of the first things is that an abundance mindset is grounded in the idea of gratitude. We are thankful for what we have. Whether it's a lot or whether it's a little is irrelevant, but we are thankful for the things we have. And one of the ways that we can do this is simply by starting every single day by just realizing one thing about our current life that we're thankful for. Now, some people do 3 things every day. They journal them in a diary. That's fine. I'm not a journaler. I'm not a diarist. I just tend to think about things. And every day, I know I'm very thankful for the cup of coffee that I'm drinking, because without it, I'm not sure people want to be around me. It can be as simple as that. Thankful that you woke up again. Thankful that there is still a sun shining in the sky, even behind the clouds when it's raining. Very simple things. Thankful for my home. Thankful for the television that I get to watch. Just very simple gratitude for the things that we have is part of the abundance mindset. On the other hand, the scarcity mindset believes that every resource that we have is a limited commodity and we might lose it. And so we've got to hang on to it as tightly as we can because we can't afford to let go. Something bad might happen in our lives. And you can see there is a huge difference in those two ways of viewing the things that are in our home, or viewing our home in its own, or viewing relationships, or viewing our job. All of those things are impacted by whether we're approaching them abundantly or with scarcity. Another thing that separates the two mindsets is that with an abundance mindset, we view decluttering not just as a way of letting go, but as a way of opening space, a way of creating something for our lives. We create space to breathe. We create space to think. We create space to live. And in some instances, we might be creating space to add something new. There's nothing wrong with that. But the scarcity mindset has this idea that decluttering is a threat. It's a threat to our everyday way of living, because we come back to that thought process of, what if I need this later? How can I possibly let this go? In the next 10 years, I might use it once. And we cling, we hang on. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, the scarcity mindset leans toward hoarding and just keeping way too many things for no particular reason. And some people have grown up with this. I know in my mom's generation, my mom and dad, all of my aunts and uncles who grew up sort of in the Great Depression era, when things really were scarce and you just didn't have much at all, and sometimes you didn't have enough to really live. Growing into adulthood, as you begin to collect items, you begin to add furniture, or you buy a little bigger house, or you add a car. These things are held on to quite highly because they've lived through this time when everything could be taken away. I get that. People in my generation, on the other hand, when we grew up, our parents typically already had a house, or maybe they were renting a house, but they already had furniture. They already had at least one car, maybe two cars. And so we think when we get to be an adult, we're supposed to have that instantaneously. And so we start buying stuff on credit and we get ourselves in debt, trying to be like our parents, when that's not how this is supposed to happen. It's how it happened for me, but I can only see that looking back 40 years, 45 years now. Another major shift between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset is that the abundance mindset is really more interested in the quality of things possessed, even if it means you have to have fewer of them. And the scarcity mindset is really focused more on the quantity of things possessed, even if they're cheaper and break more often. Again, I'm sure there is this happy middle somewhere, but these are the extremes of things we're talking about why people have trouble decluttering, is because in the scarcity mindset, it really is all about having more. Having more makes me feel better. In the abundance mindset, having better makes me feel more. And I think that's a huge difference. Now, we've talked about this in other videos, and I've had some comments of people that are like, that doesn't apply to me. I don't feel that way. And, we're talking about generalities here, so just bear with me. But the people who live with more stuff than they need, I'm not going to say it's a cluttered environment, because their house may be it may be neat. Everything may have a place and everything may be in its place. But typically, people who own more than they need don't keep their homes like that. There's clothes on the chair in the bedroom. There are things piled up on the coffee table. There's still dirty dishes in the sink. All of these things sort of happen. And this cluttered environment causes us to lose focus in the way we think. That it's difficult for us to find peace in that. Not for everyone, but for a lot of us. Where if we have the abundance mindset and we have what we need, we don't have much more than what we need, and everything is sort of opened for us. We've opened this living space for ourselves. We now have room to breathe. This was the first thing I noticed when I got rid of all the furniture in my bedroom except a bed. I came back and added a bench and I added a chair in a corner, but I got rid of all of that heavy, wooden, overstuffed stuff. And the first thing that I noticed when I walked into the room was, I can breathe in here. And I sleep better in here. Because we have this abundance mindset that allows us to open the space for our brains, for our emotions. And that's huge. It's been huge for me. And if we have an abundance mindset, we find ourselves much more prone to be generous in life. As we talked about in the last video of Henry Nouwen's concept of open hands, we find it easier to hold on to our things more lightly. And if somebody needs something we have, we are more quick to say, have mine, I'll be fine. But in the scarcity mindset, because we are holding things close, we're clenching our fists, we are not letting go, it makes it difficult to be generous to other people. And if somebody comes along and says, hey, I need to borrow this, rather, I don't want to go buy it, but I know you have one, can I borrow it? We will come up with excuses oftentimes as to why that's just not possible. Because we are so afraid that once they take it, it won't come back to us. And so we're just not going to let it go. These are the differences between the two mindsets. So I would encourage you, as you look around your house and you look at areas maybe where there is a lot of items. Maybe it's a bookcase. Maybe it's your closet. That's typically one of the high stuffed areas. Maybe it's your kitchen. Maybe it's your home office. Maybe it's just glancing around your bedroom. Become aware of how you're reacting to the things in your room, in your closet, and the drawer. Is your brain immediately going to, I have to keep that? Or is your brain sort of opening up to say, I could make more room here. I could breathe easier. I would find things better if I had less of this. What can I let go of today? Because it's all about intentional living. It's not about how much stuff you get rid of. As I've said many times, minimalism is not about owning less. Minimalism is about creating space to breathe, creating space to live. So, how does your mind react? Catch yourself in the act. Become intentional with how you want to deal with what you're looking at. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to just myself today, but you can leave me a comment if this has resonated with sort of how you've been struggling with decluttering or, trying to downsize. If it is, let me know in the comments. If you think I'm totally way off base and nothing I've said applies to you whatsoever, feel free to leave that too. Just be nice when you do. That's all I ask. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.